Hello everyone and welcome back to OG Explorers with
Hope
and G. We are back with another video. This time it's about our travels to Kenai and Homer, Alaska. We're going to kind of do this in a way of explaining it from this standpoint while showing you guys the video footage we got. We got a lot of pictures and a lot of short videos. We're still kind of getting used to taking a camera everywhere with us.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to look a little different. We have the video in front of us right now, and we're going to watch it. And since there's no audio with some of the videos, we're going to talk through some of it and explain what's going on. And then hopefully this works. I mean, we haven't done this before, like overlay the sounds, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And a little promo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dalton clothing is still a thing. I haven't done an ad for it, but I want to make another one. But don't forget, code Alaska15. You can get 15% off.
Okay, so we're going to start these videos. This first one is the first thing we did when we got our rental car. Which, by the way, we don't have a car here in Alaska. If we haven't said that before, we probably have. We don't have a car here. So this was our first time having a car, and the first thing we did was drive up, or try and drive up the mountains to look at the nice houses. And we found this park that you're looking at now.
It's still in Anchorage. It's not on our trip yet.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful park. It's pretty much all, there's no roads, a bunch of rivers.
We thought maybe we'd see a bear trying to catch a salmon.
Yeah, a lot of signs for bears and mushing, which is dog sledding.
This was actually very educational for us. We really haven't learned a lot about bears. So this sign I specifically took a picture of, and now we know if we do run into
black bears, fight back, brown bears, play dead.
Yes.
There's a rhyme for it, but I forget what the rhyme is. And then here is our drive on the way to Kenai. This is the Seward Highway. There's a rail trail right alongside of it. This was our first time leaving Anchorage.
Yes.
So
Seward Highway.
It's a little cloudy in this picture, but it's still beautiful. And then this was back when we were still renting the car. In the houses on the mountains, we saw moose. And just walked in front of the car.
This is the Conservation Center. So Alaska, there is an Alaskan zoo here in Anchorage, but I was told that it's not really worth any money. And we were told about the Alaskan Conservation Center. And there's multiple, it seems like in most cities there is, but this is a huge one. It's right in Whittier, which if you're going from Anchorage, you drive the Seward Highway, hit Whittier, and then you go down the peninsula to Kenai and Homer and Seward. So this conservation center, you're about to see how many animals we saw. It was very overcast that day. This was a moose named Jack. Which was so special.
These were the wolves.
This is his girlfriend.
I think she had a crush on me. She kept coming to me instead of everyone else. There were 4 in this picture, but I think there were maybe 6 total. That was our first time we saw a black bear right there.
Black bear.
Playing with one of his toys. We saw a bull elk right there. Bison. There were so many bison there. And a porcupine right there.
This was kind of a view of, it's called Beluga Bay, and there used to be a lot of beluga. They're endangered now. And so this is still in the conservation center, but we obviously did not see any beluga.
Yeah, hard to spot the whales there.
This was a brewery that was in the middle of the mountains, literally pulled off the highway to go to it. It was such an insane view.
Yeah, that's the Kenai River that we saw all the way on our drive down to Kenai.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredibly blue, like Gatorade blue, and moves very quickly. We went peak salmon fishing season, so there were a bunch of people out in the water fishing. And it was really cool to see all that.
Yeah, so next we go into the town of Kenai, and we saw a bunch of old cabins, and you get to go for free, and this woman walked us through each cabin, which you'll see pictures of, and we can kind of explain each cabin. So we got to learn a lot of the history of Kenai, how they lived. It wasn't necessarily the villagers. This was when people started to come, like not indigenous Alaskans. This is when people started to come live in Alaska and make log cabins. Like the men lived there to fish, and so it wasn't necessarily the indigenous population cabins. But this was one of the first ones. The snowshoes are on the top. This was a replica of a school. Very neat. This is their pantry. So
this is a smaller version, but basically looks the same, just a lot bigger, of where they keep all of their food so bears don't get it. And they keep it just right outside their cabin. Then a bunch of furniture in there.
This was a child's toilet. The thing before that was their, the thing before that was a washing machine.
Oh yeah.
Washer. This was the Russian Orthodox Church. It is still in session. It was one of the first things. We are not historians, and we actually do not know enough to even speak on any of it. But Russia was heavily involved with Alaska before
it became a U.S. state.
Yeah. So this is the Russian Orthodox Church, and it's still in session. And there was 2 of these, and it was very neat. Oh, this was, so I have a friend from nursing school. I went to IU School of Nursing. She went as well. We actually were we were from the same hometown of Fort Wayne, Indiana. We just went to different high schools. And we went to nursing school together, and we were friends and everything. And then, this trip now is a month ago. So a month has passed. Just editing takes a while. She had posted in Alaska, and so I commented, and we reached out to each other. Her parents bought this plot of land that you're looking at 20 years ago and built this lodge on it. So her parents come every single year during salmon season and have men mostly rent out rooms and beds in this lodge, and then they make it all inclusive and cook them meals. As you can see, once they come back from their charters and like big fishing trips, they still come back and they get to have dinner and then fish even more on the river that's there. And that's how we learned how to salmon fish.
Yep, so this is me salmon fishing, which is a different type of fishing I've never done before. You just literally whip the pole, and there's no bait on it. It's just a hook and like a shiny piece of metal, because there's 150,000 salmon swimming upstream every single day, and so they're basically just like going up to their spot to mate, and the goal is they just see something shiny and they're like, oh, what's that? And they clamp onto it, and that's how you catch them. So this is me catching one, and I was real cautious about it because I didn't want to lose it. I saw 2 people lose fish that they had hooked, and this was my only bite, so I really didn't want to lose it. So I'm not doing a whole lot of reeling. I'm mainly just kind of pulling it in. which turned out to be a good idea because I caught it on the stomach instead of its mouth, so it could have gotten off pretty easily. But I'm really just walking with the pole, and then someone is on the other platform back there with the net that pulls it in. But it was so cool. You can see the sun in the background with the birds flying by. It was like a beautiful sight, beautiful place to fish. First and only salmon I caught, and it was in Alaska.
Here you can see Morgan, my friend, she gets the fish in the net.
Yeah, so she scoops it up back there, and then there'll be a picture of me holding it right there. I love that picture. You see the birds in the background. It kind of looks fake, like stage, but kind of go Barry Bonds style and hit them in the head
They
to
had
kill
sticks
them.
for you to grab, and you have to...
Because we weren't tossing them back. Like, they were killing the fish, skinning it, like taking it down to eat it. So obviously you want to kill the fish before you do that. And that's how you do it with salmon. You just kind of beat them until they're dead.
Yeah. It's literally on the river, in their lodge. It wasn't just taking the fish back somewhere else, but they filleted them there, and then they would toss everything else back into the river. So there was never any trash or waste or anything. And then the birds come and take, like we saw Bald Eagle, they come and take the skin or whatever's left over from
the carcass.
Yeah. So, and then here's a very sped up video of me trying to fish. It's literally luck of the draw. It's just if a fish gets on your hook, because like we said, there's no bait. So, I never got a fish. This is our tent, our glamping experience. That is the night we stayed in Kenai. This picture was taken at 11:03 at night, and it was still very sunny.
That was fun. It was right on the water there.
We just showed up to our Airbnb. That is it. It is magical. And the full lake. A seaplane right over there. And this is our glamping. Let's see. Open it up.
Dibs on top bunk.
Right? Yep. There's even a table for us.
Already found the boat.
Wow. Kid bunk. Yeah. It is cold in here. We might need to save some of the fire for that. So this is when we drove now to Homer. This is what they call the Homer Spit. It is a tiny peninsula. Like if you saw the road and a little bit of grass on the sides of the road. Other than that, it was the ocean, the bays. And there was still mountains in the back, but they call it the Homer Spit. And it's just fishery. Like that's where all the commercial fishing happens. It's where you can get on charters to fish.
That is the Salty Dog Saloon, which I think in here there's a little video. It's just a dive bar at the Spit. Had dollar bills everywhere. We put one on there with our name on it, right there. And fun fact I learned about Homer when I got one of the book there is it is the furthest you can go in the United States by car. If you were to drive from New York to Alaska, Homer would be, they call it the end of the road. Anywhere else in Alaska, further west you would have to get to by plane or boat. So by car, this is the most, I don't think it's the most west, but it's the last road, I guess, you can get to, which is cool.
So these are more pictures in Homer. This was an Israeli food truck, which was very interesting. This is me at Grace Ridge Brewing. This was the world's cutest bookstore. Very overstimulating though. It was ceiling to floor books, and then layers of books as well. But he's had it since, this was an older gentleman and his dad started it. So this bookstore has been there.
Everything done is on paper too. Like I got a book there and he wrote down the book I bought, the date, everything. There's no computer, electronics or anything. Everything is done by paper.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. This was Homer Brewery. That was really neat. The bee farm, which I have never seen. That was so neat to me. So we were at a meadery and I thought it was going to be a dumb question to ask, so I was kind of asking him, because I've had mead before, but I didn't really necessarily know what it was. So I was like, what is mead? And then she explained to us that it is like a wine, but it's made from honey. It's like a very thick wine.
Like fermented alcohol with honey.
And so, I mean, about as natural as you can get with having their own bees. And then they had more bee farms further in the state to make mead. And it was good. We got to try all of the meads.
This was at the visitor center in Homer, looking out at the mountains out there. This was the cabin we stayed in at Homer, which was so cool. It was a 2-story. The bottom floor was just a couch and a sink, and then the upstairs was the bed,
which you can see
and
here.
that was the upstairs. That was the outhouse because there's no bathroom in there. So,
and it was a compost outhouse, which I guess I just haven't used an outhouse. I don't know how long or ever, but it was compost, so you had to put hay into the toilet after you used it. And we have since seen that same composting toilet in other places we've gone.
This was in Homer at one of the parks.
This was more of the Kenai River.
Yep. 2.5 miles.
Well, we kind of knew. We were just going to do this 10-minute walk, but then we saw the word falls, and we decided we were going to do the 2.5-mile hike. So 5 miles, and we're going. This is halfway through our hike to the Russian Falls. It was 2.5 miles out, 2.5 miles back. If you can't hear our voice in the earlier parts. Found some dogs.
That woman is changing her baby's diaper.
Cut that part out.
She was a badass though. She was with 3 dogs and a baby by herself hiking this whole thing.
Yep, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I told her she was a badass.
Yeah.
There's a picture of us when we got to the top at the falls, and then more of our video. This is us walking into the falls. This was my friend's. So, like I said, her parents have a lodge, and they have people stay there every year for the salmon season. And these men had done the deep sea fishing on one of the charters, and you have to take your fish to a fishery, and they cut it up just like that first picture we showed you of where the guy was doing it on the river for the salmon. That's for your own private fish, but if you are doing like charter-sized fishing, then you take it to a fishery. We were down in Homer already, and that's where they had done the fishing and dropped the fish off. And so we picked it up back for them because we were going to have to pass through Kenai on the way home. And it was $600 for this. This picture was $600 of fish. Just to...
I think it was like 200 pounds worth of fish.
It was 250 pounds.
Yeah.
That they had caught. And then it was $600 to pay to get it cleaned, chopped, ready.
Yeah, vacuum sealed.
And it took up the whole car, and it was very neat to actually have that experience and learn that about fishing, because we don't fish.
This was at the same brewery earlier, but on the way back we stopped again. This orange thing, it's like a emergency submarine sort of thing.
It was like a doomsday bunker. Yeah. It was a bunker,
yeah,
but it was for water, and it was the U.S. There was a U.S. patent on it from 1979, I believe. Don't quote me, but the government had made this, and so I don't know how this brewery got it or whatever. And you're about to see that we actually went inside of it.
Yeah, it's a circle that just fits 12 people. There is a stick that you control on one side, like to steer it with, and then that little circle right next to me in the middle is a toilet that you just use in front of all of the other 11 people if you had to.
Yeah.
And then there were just a couple of holes in there to see out of. But yeah, it was very small and crowded for 12 people to fit in there.
Yeah, this is another picture from the outside of it. And then this is a waterfall on the way home on the side of Seward Highway. And that concluded our trip. It was amazing. We got to learn a lot more. It was so awesome to have a car and to see new cities in Alaska.
Yeah, like I said, that was our first time out of Anchorage after being in Anchorage for 4 weeks at that point. So it was great to get out there and see more of the state. It was incredible. Homer was beautiful. That was one of my favorite spots.
But stay tuned, because we actually just got back yesterday from another trip, and we are going to upload that video a lot sooner than we did this one. Like I said, this vacation to Kenai and Homer was a month ago. We just got back from another trip. It was even better. There's amazing footage. We will probably do it just like this video if it works out. We'll explain all the different pictures. It's going to be a long one. You're going to be so excited to see it. There's so much to tell. We jam-packed 6 days of adventure. Do not forget to check out Dalton Clothing shirts. They are amazing quality. They're my favorite shirts to wear.
Should have worn one for this.
I know.
Yeah. But what else? Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already.
If you're watching this, subscribe. And if you start a YouTube channel, you will know why. You can't make money until people subscribe.
If you're watching this, you also probably know us.
Yes.
Because right now it's mainly friends and family. So really appreciate any help. Feel free to favorite. Also, if you want to know anything about our trip that we don't go over, just ask us and we'll be happy to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can explain more. We definitely are keeping a list of things we've learned in Alaska. And we are going to make a big video at the end of Alaska of all of the things. Number one thing that I want to share with you guys right now is beware of bikers. Please look all of the ways before you take off, because there could be a biker. Watch out for them and give them space. But thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for our next trip, and thank you for bearing with us. Each video will get better and better, and shorter time between videos. And we are so excited and blessed to share our travels with you guys. Peace out.